So we finally made it to Creed 2. This is the one that we have been leading up to. Me and my dad, we've reviewed all the Rocky movies, including the first Creed movie, and here we are. Honestly, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year, next to Infinity War, I have to say. But this movie is, of course, very different for various reasons. But man, I was not let down with this movie. I actually really like this movie. I was concerned though, because during last year, near the end of last year, and for a huge majority of this year, I thought that Ryan Coogler was directing this movie. And, after seeing the first Creed and then seeing Black Panther and seeing how much of a great director that guy is, I was really looking forward to this movie. Then found out that some other guy was making it. And my hype went from hype to extreme concern because I did know this director. I think this was one of his first feature films, if not his first feature film, Stephen Caple Jr. So I was concerned, but I think he did a really good job. In fact, he did do a really good job. I was really impressed with this movie. One of the things that really impressed me is the characters. Now, if you've watched or read reviews for this movie, then the hype is real. The villains are actual characters in this movie. I actually understood and not necessarily related to, but I empathized a lot with the villain characters in this movie, and I emphasize villain characters because they are very much characters in a way that the Rocky film was never quite achieved. They just weren't done well, and man, I cared about these guys and what was happening with them. And by the end of the movie, in the fight that we all want to see, I was actually saying to myself, "Get up, Drago." That has never happened in any of the Rocky films for me, or the last Creed movie. So it was a big surprise to actually like I knew that I was gonna enjoy their part of the movie, but I didn't know that I was gonna enjoy it so much to the point where I was gonna say, "Get up, Drago." Anyway, that totally surprised me. But another thing that I really liked is the relationship between Adonis and Bianca. Now, this in some ways, or a lot of ways, is similar to Rocky 2. Okay, their relationship and where they are taken in this movie, similar to Rocky 2. But how it's done, it's a little different, and I liked it a lot better than Rocky 2. I just do. I don't know. It was it. I really did like it. And there are a lot of similarities, I have to say, between this film and Rocky 2 and Rocky 4, for obvious reasons, because of Russia and the Dragos and all that. But I think this movie steps up and above those movies in some ways. Maybe not Rocky 2, but definitely Rocky 4. This movie, in a lot of ways, does some things better than the Rocky movies. But in terms of Creed movies, this is tough. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again because I've watched the first Creed a shit ton of times, and I love that movie. Okay, that was one of my favorite movies of that year when it came out. But for this year, and in comparison to the first Creed movie, I don't know. It might be. I might love it more, but I'll have to see it again. I could love it just as equally as much because that happens a lot with me in movies. But I don't know. This had more emotion, had more drama. And I don't know, as a sequel, it does what a sequel should do, and it explores its characters way more in depth and uh, just way more than the first one does. So I think in terms of a sequel, it does with its characters what sequels should do. Um, anyway, that's my thoughts on the movie. I'm going to pass it off to my dad, and I'll see you at the end.
Okay. Yeah, I really loved this movie. It was, I must say, it was one of my favourites. It's up there with all of them, and in some parts as good or better than all of them. I love the way it started with Ivan Drago and his son. It just how I saw it was he was a very vicious and brutal fighter, and it was because of his son. It was because of his father that he was here. I felt that he was angry for some reason was the main motive behind him fighting. And yeah, so it was just very interesting to see that. And with Adonis Creed, his character develops. Like he starts off in the movie, and he sort of seemed a bit scattered. He didn't know who he was. He had an identity crisis going on in his life, and that sort of carried right through the movie. And he got to a point in the movie where he got to a real low place in his life, and he was struggling to survive. He was, we didn't know whether he was going to stay in fighting or not, and he had to the character developed, and matured, and then he found his basically his mojo, and he found what made his passion, and got his passion back and everything, and the movie developed from there, and then the end result was a good one. And I love the other point I want to make is also that his family and his very best friend, which was Rocky himself, his girlfriend, his mum, they were all on his side and in his corner. No matter what decision he made, no matter what he did, they were in his corner. They were his strength, And I just really loved the movie because of those 3 points. It was a very well-rounded movie, and that was just like, even though there was a winner, right? The families involved were all felt achieved, felt happy, and it brought those families that were involved together, and that's why I loved that. It was just a brilliant movie. I reckon, I'm still thinking about the movie. I've only just seen it, and it's a brilliant movie. I'll be thinking about this movie for a while. So thanks.
Definitely, me too. So I don't know about you guys, but if I think they can pull off a third movie, because I've heard some people say that they should just stop at 2. I don't think so. I think they could pull off a third movie if they really wanted to. I'd pay to see it. Anyway, that's our review for Creed 2. Hopefully there is a third one, so that we join forces again to review that movie. Anyway, I'll see you in my review for either, by myself. I'll see you in my review for either Daredevil Season 3. I know I'm late on that review. Or my review for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm pretty excited for that movie. So I'll see you, we'll see you in that review.